Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Dudu, the Natural Hair Gallery. How are you guys doing today? Thank you so much for tuning in. The topic for today is coconut oil versus olive oil, which is better for your hair. Coconut oil versus olive oil, which is better for your hair. Coconut oil and olive oil are two of the most popular natural oils in hair care, but they don't behave exactly the same way. So in this episode of the Natural Hair Showdown that we have been looking at in the past few weeks, we're going to compare their properties, benefits, limitations, and how they may work differently on various hair types and porosities. Most importantly, we will explain why neither oil is a magic hair growth treatment, and how using the right oil for the right purpose can make a difference. All right, let's dive right into it. Now, two oils, two completely different plants, and one question that has divided the natural hair community for years is that coconut oil or olive oil, which one is better for your hair? Some people swear by coconut oil, others won't touch their hair without olive oil. But what if neither one is universally better? What if either one is universally better? Or what if they are simply better at different jobs? And that's what we're going to look at today. What if they are just simply better at different jobs? Today we are putting them head to head, and we're going to compare them, and at the same time look at the one that your hair naturally would accept, just like we've always done we've done on previous episodes. So chapter 1, meet coconut oil. Let's start with coconut oil. Coconut oil comes from the flesh of the coconut. It's rich in fatty acids, with lauric acid being its major fatty acid. And this matters because coconut oil behaves differently from many other oils when it comes in contact with hair. Behaves differently from many other oils when it comes in contact with hair. So let's look at that special advantage that coconut oil has over other oils. Research has found that coconut oil can penetrate the hair shaft. One study comparing several oils found coconut oil was particularly effective at reducing protein loss from both damaged and undamaged hair when used before or after washing. Did you see that? It was effective at reducing protein loss from both damaged and undamaged hair when used before and after washing. Another study using imaging techniques found evidence of coconut oil penetrating into the hair fiber. That's important because repeated washing and grooming can contribute to damage and protein loss. So coconut oil isn't simply sitting on the outside of the hair, at least under the conditions studied. Some of it can get inside the hair fiber. Now that's for coconut oil. Let's now look at chapter 2, olive oil. Now let's talk about olive oil. Olive oil comes from the fruit of the olive tree. It's rich in oleic acid and other natural occurring compounds. Like coconut oil, it can lubricate the hair. We started seeing the difference right now. Reduce friction and add shine, and help create an oil film that slows moisture movement. It creates an oil film that slows moisture movement. But its behavior isn't identical to coconut oil. Now let's look at chapter 3. We're going to look at both oil. We're going to compare them right now. Now here's where things get interesting. Coconut oil has stronger evidence for penetrating the hair shaft and reducing protein loss, right? That's coconut oil. Olive oil can still be useful for conditioning, lubrication, and helping the hair feel softer and smoother. For conditioning, lubrication, and helping the hair feel softer and smoother. So, if we are asking which one has the stronger case for protecting the hair fiber from protein loss, coconut oil has the advantage based on the available research. Now let's look at chapter 4. But what about moisture? Let's look at moisture itself right now. Here's another common misunderstanding. Oil does not hydrate the hair in the same way water does. It doesn't hydrate the hair in the same way water does. Oil is better thought of as a lubricant and barrier that can help reduce moisture movement and friction. It is thought as a lubricant and barrier that can help reduce moisture movement and friction. So don't think my hair is dry, therefore I need more oil. Don't think on that level. Sometimes dry hair needs water and conditioning first. Sometimes dry hair needs water and conditioning first, and oil afterwards may help with lubrication and moisture retention. I've always said this. Basically what the hair needs first and foremost is water, because water would, like we said, it will help condition the hair first, like dilating the hair follicles, and then the oil afterwards will now help to lubricate and hold moisture. It retains moisture. Now chapter 5, who may prefer coconut oil? Now we are going to start looking at how these oils actually behave when it comes in contact with our hair. So who may prefer coconut oil? Hair prone to breakage. That's number 1. Hair prone to breakage. So if your hair is prone to breakage from washing, or it's prone to breakage as a result of washing, combing and manipulation, now coconut oil may be worth considering because of its evidence for reducing protein loss and protecting the hair fiber. Then another one is damaged hair. Hair that has experienced chemical or mechanical damage may particularly benefit from strategies that reduce further protein loss. That's number 2. Hair that responds well to coconut oil. And this last point is important. Your hair's response matters a lot. The way your hair responds to oil is one of those caveats that you have to look at. If it's not responding properly, then I don't think it's something that you must use. So that's now depends on you having to study your hair to know which one responds better. So that's that for the response of your hair to coconut oil. So, and an ingredient that can have good research behind it and still not be the best fit for every individual routine. Now let's look at chapter 6. Who may prefer olive oil? Who may prefer olive oil? Olive oil can be useful when your goal is primarily lubrication, softness, shine, and helping reduce friction during handling. It can work particularly well as part of a richer conditioning or sealing routine. But because olive oil can feel relatively heavy on some hair, you don't necessarily need a lot. Because olive oil can feel relatively heavy on some hair, you don't necessarily need a lot. Now let's look at chapter 7. What about hair porosity? What about hair porosity? We'll look at first and foremost low porosity hair. If your hair is low porosity and easily becomes coated, either oil can feel heavy if overused. Start with very small amounts. And don't assume more oil equals more moisture. Don't assume more oil equal more moisture. Now high porosity hair. Let's look at high porosity hair. High porosity hair often loses moisture more readily. Now a suitable oil can help with lubrication and moisture retention. Coconut oil may be particularly interesting here because of its ability to interact with the hair fiber and reduce protein loss. Fine hair, let's look at fine hair. Fine hair can become weighed down quickly. For fine strands, less is more. You may prefer a tiny amount rather than saturating the hair. That's for fine hair. Thick or coarse hair. Thicker strands may tolerate richer oil treatments more comfortably. Either coconut oil or olive oil can have a place here depending on what your hair actually responds to. So we looked at low porosity hair, high porosity hair, fine hair, and thick or coarse hair, how they respond to both olive oil and coconut oil. Now chapter 8, but do they grow hair? That's another question. Do they grow hair? Now let's destroy one of the biggest myths. Neither oil, that's coconut oil, nor olive oil should be presented as a guaranteed hair growth treatment. Neither of them should be guaranteed as a hair growth treatment. Your follicles produce new hair. Oils primarily help you care for the hair you already have. Oils primarily help you care for the hair you already have. And here's where this becomes interesting. If better hair care reduces breakage, you may retain more length. So someone might say this oil made my hair grow, when what's actually happening could be less breakage, better length retention, longer looking hair. Now let's look at chapter 9. That's the verdict right now. Let's look at the verdict. So which one wins, coconut oil or olive oil? We're talking specifically about evidence for penetrating hair shaft and reducing protein loss. That's for coconut oil. Coconut oil takes this round. Specifically about evidences that we have seen that it does penetrate the hair shaft and reduce protein loss based on research. But that doesn't make olive oil a bad hair oil. Olive oil can still be useful for lubrication, softness, and conditioning. So the real winner, here's the real winner, is the oil that matches your hair needs. The real winner here is the oil that matches your hair's needs. Now the final message: don't choose an oil because everyone online is using it. Choose it because you understand what it does. Coconut oil may be your choice when you're thinking about protection of the hair fiber and reducing protein loss. Olive oil may be your choice when you're looking for a richer conditioning and lubricating treatment. Olive oil may be your choice when you're looking for a richer conditioning and lubricating treatment. And sometimes you don't need either one, because healthy hair care isn't about putting something on your hair every day. You don't need either one sometimes, because healthy hair care isn't about putting something on your hair every day. It is about knowing when your hair needs something and when it needs a break. It is about knowing when your hair needs something and when it needs a break. So which one has worked better for your hair, coconut oil or olive oil? Tell me on the comments. I want to know on the comment section which one has worked better for your hair, olive oil or coconut oil, or olive oil. And ladies and gentlemen, subscribe to the Natural Hair Gallery for the next episode of Natural Hair Showdown, where we put one another, two particular hair care ingredients head to head. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one, but until then, God bless and bye for now.